T20 का समापन हो चुका है। उस पर बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ दक्षिण अफ्रीका की नेशनल असेंबली की स्पीकर Mapisa-Nqakula हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। उनसे जानते हैं उनका अनुभव कैसा रहा भारत में आने के बाद। मैम, हाउ इज योर एक्सपीरियंस इन इंडिया?
Wonderful. It's been a beautiful experience, quite illuminating, quite informative as well. And I think I highly welcome the fact that we had a P20, which was actually opened by the Prime Minister, which shows the seriousness with which he takes the work of the legislatures as head of the G20.
So how do you find India's leadership around the world? PM Modi is taking all actions for the environment, for women-led development, for nature, for...
Very exciting, firstly because Prime Minister Modi invited the African Union to form part of the G20. And that's a step which is very commendable, because what that means is that African leaders will have a platform through which they can interact with the leadership of the G20. I'm very excited about it. But also interesting that then, as a result of that decision, the Pan-African Parliament, which is a continental geopolitical group of Africa, consisting of the various parliaments from all the countries, is also now part of the P20. So that's a very, very progressive decision which has been taken, so that we too can speak for ourselves at these different fora. We too can express our views freely, directly, with those who are in the leadership of the G20. So I really think that the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, was very wise actually to invite the African Union to form part of the G20. So it has been a very successful chairship of the G20. India has done absolutely well. And I hope that as Brazil takes over the leadership of G20, they'll take from where Prime Minister Modi has left off.
Ma'am, I want to know only one thing, that as a conclusive remarks, what do you think about the total 4 topics has been taken in P20? Either than that, what would you like to include in next P20? Which kind of topics are left behind? Women-led government, women are already taken parts. What do you think about that?
Well, we've done well because we've discussed, we said the theme says one earth, one family, one future. And we discussed the SDGs, which was very good. We talked about issues of gender equality, gender empowerment, gender, So for me, I think we now need to look slightly beyond that and look also at climate issues were discussed at length. We need to talk about how best to assist one another to deal with issues of poverty. We come from a continent where the majority of people live below the poverty line. But secondly, we come from a continent where, for now, discussion of issues of the diversity of our people, including, by the way, issues of sexual orientation, where they have not been quite discussed and embraced. And I think it's something this forum may as well offer an opportunity for that kind of discussion, no matter how complex the discussion is, no matter how diverse we may be as leaders in these structures, but it's important that we talk about these issues so that all of us feel part of this family that we are referring to and the future.
How do you see the role of parliaments? How can you, taking these all 4 points has been decided and discussed in P20. Next step, in all countries will discuss these topics widely in their parliaments.
Oh, yes.
What kind of contribution you are expecting from your parliamentarians, your countrymen? What kind of discussion and debate you are expecting from your parliament?
Well, one of the things I should have congratulated the Speaker of and the legislature of Parliament of India is the fact that you have passed very good pieces of legislation to empower women. And I know there are several countries which are still battling to enact laws that will further advance women. And therefore, I think that some of the countries which are here should take those issues forward. We should talk squarely about the issue of women's empowerment, issues of women leadership, not just at a political level, but also women taking the lead in our economies. So I think that the most important issue right now is for us to go back, all of us, give reports to some of the issues and also what makes us one family on this earth. What makes us one family will be our ability as well to resolve conflict, so that where there is conflict, we are able to find one another, engage such that we find a solution to that conflict.
What do you think about that? One family is a thing where each person have a different opinion, different issues. Like that in our universe, our world, different countries having a different issues. What do you think that African issues which have to be discussed widely but not taken by other countries? Which kind of issues you want to highlight?
You see, for instance, I would like to highlight the issue of the conflict which is currently raging. For instance, the issue of what is happening in Palestine and Israel. Okay? For me, there's diversity of views here. And of course, we didn't want to find ourselves in a situation where we are divided on what is contained in the communique. But what is important is that there is this conflict. People are dying on both sides, by the way, right now as we are talking. What is important, though, is for us to say, therefore, because people are dying on both sides, because there are injuries on both sides, it is important that we unblock that illegal blockade so that humanitarian support, humanitarian assistance can go through and reach everybody, because unfortunately the victims of that conflict are women and children, and they're on both sides. And you need, in terms of the SDGs, we talk about universal health care, we talk about issues, water, access to water, access to the most basic of needs. And if there is a blockade, what it means is that the issues we're talking about in the sustainable developmental goal will not assist. We will not be able to assist the people who are affected by the conflict. The unfortunate thing about conflict is that it affects the people. Ordinary people are the ones who become victims of a conflict. So that is why it's important that we always talk about resolution of conflict and post-conflict resolution and development.
In opening remarks of this P20 summit, PM Modi already told that we have to be unite on the issues like terrorism. This is a kind of issue that is when you are talking about conflict. But
all countries are concerned about issues of terrorism. And of course, at times, it depends on which position you are in, where you are, and how you see it. But terror is terror. Terror is terror. And therefore, I think the statement which was made that countries need to engage on matters of terrorism, that we need to fight against terror attacks, because terror attacks means loss of lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your remarks. संसद टीवी के लिए सुरेंद्र कुमार.
Joining us right now is a